coming in just now. After close to 6 hours of questioning today, Rhea Chakraborty is all set to leave the NCB office now.
Right, she is likely to be summoned again tomorrow. During her grilling, Rhea has told that the 6 sleuths quizzing her that she never consumed drugs. So she's saying she never consumed drugs. I believe the procurement angle still remains, Athar, but no arrest today.
Unexpected line, Swati. We understand her lawyer already gave a statement today suggesting she was even ready for arrest and has claimed that she's never ever consumed drugs. She's repeating that claim to the NCB today. Our colleagues are standing by on the ground. I believe Kajal Iyer, Arun Neil, Tamal Saha and Mohit Sharma all with us on the broadcast. Starting with you, Mohit, I believe questioning for the day is over. We are also getting to know that she will be called again for quizzing tomorrow. What's the latest there?
Well, Athar, let me first take you through these visuals. I'll just ask my camera person to just pan out and showcase the elaborate arrangements which have just been made by the Mumbai police. And of course, they are trying to ensure that, there is nothing untoward that really takes place. They're trying to ensure that everything is peaceful here. And, in the morning, we had seen that while Rhea Chakraborty was brought in, there was quite a ruckus. Everybody really wanted a statement out of her. And, while she did not really speak, the Mumbai police does not want the same to happen again today today evening when she leaves once again. But as far as the interrogation is concerned, almost 6 hours of interrogation is something what we are given to understand. She may leave very soon now. It is in all likelihood possible that the summon would be served to her here itself, but if not here, then once again the NCB would be going back and giving her that summon at her residence. But really, the kind of questions which have been put across to her very clearly indicate that the evidence which the NCB really had is something with which she was countered with, or based on the various statements.
You're telling us there is going to be no arrest today. She will be summoned for tomorrow. Let me also go across to Tamal. So far, what we're being told is that Rhea Chakraborty has denied consuming drugs.
Well, that's right. That's an obvious expected response, a response on the expected lines. Rhea Chakraborty has all along maintained that she has never consumed drugs and that she is open to any kind of blood test. But at this point in time, we know that all those admissions that she has made, all those narrations she has given to some selected few channels, for NCB, they mean nothing. For NCB, their interrogation is independent, while NCB is calling it examination. And as you rightly mentioned, it's been on for 6 hours. In fact, going by the watch, she had entered the NCB office at 11:58, which means it's already 7 hours, it's almost 6 hours that she's inside. And you also know, as a matter of fact, cross-questioning has happened. Cross-questioning between who? Cross-questioning between Rhea Chakraborty, Showik Chakraborty, Dipesh Sawant, and also Samuel Miranda. Why is that important? It's important because Showik Chakraborty has given out names. Showik Chakraborty has suggested that he had procured drugs, and that's something Rhea Chakraborty knew. Showik Chakraborty's name was also taken by Samuel Miranda. Samuel Miranda had suggested that, okay, he too had procured drugs, given it to Sushant Singh Rajput, but worked in close coordination with Showik Chakraborty. Who else have taken Showik Chakraborty's name? People like Zaid Viltara and also Basit Parihar. They have suggested they have taken instructions from Showik Chakraborty. So for Rhea Chakraborty, the obvious question and the most important question, the most pertinent question, whether she knew all this was happening. Did she participate in absolute complacency of the act? Because NCB is trying to understand if there was a criminal conspiracy with regards to procurement and also transportation of drugs. At this point in time, Rhea Chakraborty is inside. We also know, as a matter of fact, sources are telling us that she will be summoned again tomorrow. She, in all likeliness, would be let off. But having spoken to some senior officers, they are saying the examination is on, still on, quote unquote. They are saying the examination is still on.
Tamal, just confirm one thing for us right now. We understand that Rhea has admitted during the questioning today that she did ask Showik to procure drugs. Is that right, or did we hear you wrong?
Well, no, I'm saying that Showik Chakraborty has admitted in the statement he has given so far, but what you're also learning that Rhea Chakraborty has so far maintained that Sushant Singh Rajput used to procure drugs, or every drug that was brought into the house was only for Sushant Singh Rajput. Well, again, NCB understands that these statements need further verification, and that's the reason the cross-examination is so important. Also, a very important point, as I was telling Arthur, having spoken to some senior officers, they are saying the examination is on, the possibility of everything, quote unquote, everything is still on. We know as a law, a woman cannot be arrested after the sunset. Well, as per the Mumbai calendar,
she will be called tomorrow. So the questioning will continue tomorrow as well. Let me quickly also go across to Arunil. What we're picking up at this point in time is that Rhea Chakraborty has denied consuming, but this is what our sources are telling us, that she has admitted that she procured drugs.
Well, Swati, firstly, I am outside the residence of Rhea Chakraborty. I will like to show you one visuals of a police van over here. Basically, it's a big police van that has just come over here. This is a clear indication that Rhea Chakraborty will be returning home tonight, and there will not be any arrest. Fresh summons will be given tomorrow morning. That's what we understand. And an arrest is expected, in fact, tomorrow. Now, speaking about Rhea Chakraborty denying, saying that she never consumed drugs. So why did she had to procure drugs from Showik Chakraborty? In fact, if you go by her March 17 chats as well, she is asking Showik Chakraborty to get drugs for somebody else. Now, who was this somebody else? Was it Sushant Singh Rajput, who was drugged by Rhea Chakraborty in connivance with all the other people, Showik Chakraborty, Samuel Miranda, Dipesh Sawant? All of them, in fact, are in the custody of the NCB. Now, cross-interrogation will be extremely important. What comes out of it will be extremely paramount and significant, considering that, yes, trouble clearly mounts for the Chakrabortys, because firstly, heavy dose of medicines being given, financial exploitation angle is already being probed by the Enforcement Directorate, the CBI looking into the murder plot that transpired at the Mount Blanc residence of Sushant Singh Rajput, and now drugging him, allegedly drugging the late actor. These are some charges against Rhea Chakraborty, and some stern line of questioning is being going on against the actress.
All right, there you go. So Rhea Chakraborty has indeed told the NCB that she did in fact have a role in procuring drugs, although Swati at the same time she maintains she never consumed drug. Also a little dodgy if you look at it from the perspective of investigators. Again, we'll leave it to them to get to the bottom of this. We also have our other colleague standing by right now, Kajal Iyer, who was at the court today. Dipesh was earlier produced in the court. Kajal, this is a big admission of sorts coming in through the NCB interrogation. She says she never consumed any drugs, but did procure them, ostensibly one would presume, going by her story till now, for Sushant himself. Nonetheless, this is a big piece of the missing jigsaw.
One also needs to talk about agency here. If he was the consumer, as she claims, then was it necessary to procure drugs for him? Presumably, she has been talking about the fact that he was consulting a few doctors also for various reasons. If that was the case, why, give in to this habit of his, if at all? So she is being party herself to a crime if she is allowing someone to procure drugs also, or facilitating that for someone else. So that is a slightly weak defense, because you have to have individual agency also over this, and that cannot be denied when a person is an adult.
Right. Kajal, stay on with us. We also have some guests joining us in the broadcast. Savio Rodriguez, Chief Editor of Goa Chronicles, along with Preeti Singh, a lawyer, Shilpi Jain, also a lawyer, and Chetan Singh, a political analyst. Let me go across to them. Good evening to all of you. Chetan Singh, Rhea Chakraborty and her statements. There are several discrepancies. Rhea first said that she was helping Sushant Singh Rajput get rid of this habit of consuming drugs. She never once consumed it, but she is admitting that she did procure it for him.
See, we need to understand here categorically that Rhea Chakraborty has been in love with Sushant Singh Rajput, and this is the reason she and her lawyer has said that they are paying the cost of it at this given point of time. Another most important point is that when the FIR was launched against her, she has never applied for the anticipatory bail. Now there are three agencies are working to ensure that the proper truth the investigation is going to happen, and they're probing that what exactly has gone wrong and what is the root cause of the death of Sushant Singh Rajput. On the top of it, we have seen the previous former top cops have also said categorically that this appears to be a suicide case. Now, what is happening at this given point of time? Rhea Chakraborty and her lawyer has said that she is ready for the arrest. In fact, she is ready for the arrest. So she is cooperating. She is giving her 100% support to the agencies. Whenever she has been called, she is going over there. She is giving her all statements. On the top of it, you see, the kind of vilification campaign which is going against her is reaching where? This is something which we have never ever seen.
So Chetan Singh, allow me to come in for a second here. This is what we are picking up from our sources right now, and this is something that Rhea has confessed to and told the NCB. And I want to go across to Shilpi Jain and Preeti Singh, both who are on the broadcast right now, along with some other guests who joined us. Preeti Singh, let me ask you this. First of all, Rhea has admitted to the chats of 15th of... I beg your pardon, sorry, this is the 15th of March, chats that we also have access to. We've been showing our viewers as well that she was aware that she was indeed aware of both Basit Parihar as well as Zaid, and the fact that Showik was procuring drugs from these two individuals, and the fact that she has also admitted to the NCB that Samuel Miranda scoring quote-unquote drugs or procuring drugs was something she was in the know of. So clearly she was absolutely in the know of what was really happening, who was getting drugs for whom. She was quite in the middle of it. Does that not punch holes in the theory that she initially came up with?
See, my point of view is a little different here. I believe there has been a lot of material that has been floated on the table in the news channels or whatever, through whatever sources you guys have. I really feel that there has been a lot of material that has surfaced which is pointing towards the same angle. Say for example, Rhea being the culprit. Now I feel since the investigation is pending, CBI is in charge now.
Preeti, I'm not calling anybody the culprit here. All I'm saying is she has confessed to the fact that she knew procurement of drugs was happening. In fact, Basit Parihar has also gone to Rhea's residence. She's also confessed that. To this limited point, isn't that then perhaps too much to assume that Rhea absolutely didn't know anything that was happening in her house and in her vicinity? I'm not saying she's a culprit. It's not my job to say that.
I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that.
Exactly.
I'm saying that yes, a lot of material has surfaced up, but yes, there are a lot of things that are missing from the chain. Now, this is how evidence on circumstantial basis works. You have to dig out the entire chain, which is the missing links. I'm sure the CBI is digging out. But till that time, everything is pending investigation, and yes, we'll have to give her the benefit of doubt. Not that I'm favoring her. I am just saying that the matter is still imperative. The matter is still pending investigation for that matter.
Absolutely. It will in fact provide more lead to the investigating agencies. We also have Mr. Nitin Saluja, advocate on record in the Sushant Singh Rajput case, joining us on the broadcast, and we have senior journalist Ketan Vaidya as well. Let me first go across to Mr. Saluja. Mr. Saluja, so this is what we are picking up, the latest. Yes, the interrogation for today is over. She's been summoned for tomorrow, but she has admitted that yes, there was drug procurement, and she has admitted her role in it.
See, first we have to see the inception of NCB case. The inception of NCB case starts from the ED case. ED cloned her phone, and from her phone, ED got the information that there was a drug angle. They provided the information to the NCB. NCB, on the basis of that, initiated the case. So there are certain chats which all obviously shows her knowledge of this. So the offense of NDPS Act completely, that also includes abetment. Even I was hearing the news that she said that she did not consume the drugs. That would not make a difference, much of a difference of what she's saying, because the abetment and conspiracy is also an offense. Whom she was procuring the drugs also is important. And now her statement, what she has given today, will be confronted by different accused who are already in custody. So that would be seen.
Nitin, let me ask you a counter question. I'm sure it will be asked in court as well. Rhea Chakraborty is on record suggesting that, in fact, stay with us. We're getting some live shots from Mumbai right now.
Welcome back. You're watching a continuous coverage. Rhea Chakraborty's interrogation is over. She's on her way home, but she has been summoned for tomorrow. Let us quickly get some comments from our guest. Savio Rodriguez is with us on the broadcast. Savio, Sushant's family has alleged that Rhea Chakraborty was keeping him drugged, that she was administering drugs to him. Okay, I believe Savio is not with us. Let me in that case go across to Mr. Ketan Vaidya, senior journalist. I'm sure you are monitoring the developments very, very closely. You've heard all sides and you must be analyzing all the aspects as well. Family claims Rhea Chakraborty was administering drugs to Sushant. Rhea says, yes, I was procuring it, but only for Sushant.
Well, Rhea was quite articulate during the interview on everything under the sun, but when she was asked questions specific to the drug-related issues, all that she said is, I was trying to get Sushant out of his addiction. Sushant was addicted to weed and I was not comfortable with it. However, she was either cryptic or non-committal when it came to her own addiction or her admission to the chats that had that Times Now had released. So this has a very important connection to the case. See, the fact is that the agencies cannot rush an investigation in 6 hours, and as a lady she cannot be arrested after sunset. So that's the only reason the troubles are far from over for Rhea, because she has to do a lot of answering, and these were not just random chats floating in the WhatsApp university. These were verified chats that ED had released, and the veracity of the chats, there were clear communication that was happening. Secondly, according to the NDPS Act, it's very clear that if you abet, if you traffic, or if you are a part of the process, even if you don't consume, then you can be held culpable. And tomorrow, the agency will try to ascertain that what was her role in procuring and in trafficking drugs. Even if she is successful in proving that she was not consuming it, yet there will be a lot of questioning and
so
the troubles are
Ketan, you're essentially saying that even if it's proved beyond a shadow of a doubt she wasn't consuming herself, the fact that she has ostensibly admitted to being part of the procurement process of narcotics drugs, does mean that she has a lot to answer, and she couldn't still be in spot of bother here. Shilpi Jain, before we go to our colleagues on the ground again, very quickly I want to ask you, somebody or the other has to come out and say it. So I'm just going to do that. Isn't Rhea being slightly economical with the truth? Because approach this logically. I'm not incriminating her or indicting her. That's not our job here. But when she says she was trying to wean Sushant off weed, she knew about his alleged habit, but then she said in the same breath, I helped procure drugs for her. The two don't really make sense when they go together.
Now talking about the law, any statement which Rhea makes, or even if she stays silent, that is absolutely her right. Cooperating with investigation agencies does not mean that she has to give an answer which suits the prosecution or the investigation agencies. She is free to choose her answers, and even if she does make a statement that's incriminating, although as per NDPS Act, any statement made to people other than police officials is admissible. The fact is, as a procedure, all the accused, barring I think none or barring very few, they all retract the statement maybe the next day or after a couple of days before the court, because they are able to prove or make a statement. Are you suggesting
this could be a stalling tactic, Shilpi, and the fact that her legal counsel will advise her to retract the statement come court day?
I'm not suggesting that. I'm telling you what is the general outcome in these cases. That's a right of the suspect or the accused to do that. I'm not saying her legal counsel will advise her that, but I'm saying that is her right. If she was to do that, she can always state before the magistrate. There is a possibility, as it is done in many cases. Now, with regard to her, there is, according to me, from whatever little bit I see on the media, because I don't have access to the court records, or I mean the investigation records, there are two pieces of evidence against her being used. One is the WhatsApp chat dating back to several months, and the other is statement of co-accused.
Co-accused, and there are some transactions also, I believe, bank account transactions. Yes, go on.
Well, I have never heard of a person buying drugs through bank accounts. I don't know. I can't really comment on that. What are
I'm just telling you what we picked up. Sometimes it was paid in cash, sometimes credit card was used. That's what we've been told. So I was just putting across that point. Go ahead.
No, I really don't know why somebody will buy a drug through credit card, and to whom was the money transferred. I can't comment. I don't know the finer details of that. But if it was so, we are to, I reserve my comments on that. I don't know to whom the payment was made. But in the absence of any recovery of drug from her premises or from her possession, the case only being based on circumstantial evidence, being based on statement of a co-accused or WhatsApp chat. Now, an accused can always take a defense that those WhatsApp chats, later she can say, or anybody can say, were in fact written on her mobile. Her mobile was misused and deleted by that person. I mean, these are all the possible.
Savio, as far as the WhatsApp chat angle is concerned, now of course the agencies claim that these chats were deleted, the emails were deleted, that they retrieved, and that's how they came across the drug angle. Shilpi Jain says that it might not stand in the court of law when it comes to proving the guilt in court.
Well, actually, you'll have to look, the NCB, the CBI and the ED will have to look at hardcore evidence before they start any prosecution as far as Rhea Chakraborty is concerned, because the heightened interest that this case has got, if they get anything flimsy and she walks away, because she's very crucial to the entire case, then it would actually, the entire exercise of getting to the truth falls flat. So I think what the NCB, the CBI and the ED are doing are working very clinically as far as this case is concerned. There is not much information coming out, so we really don't know what they really have with them. But what they do have is enough for them to start investigation as far as she is concerned. So I think what we need to wait and watch is to what extent is the involvement of Rhea, which is clearly evident.
Yes, and tomorrow, I believe, Savio, the questioning continues. And you're right, they're building the case block by block. We have to take a very short break at this point. When we come back, we'll go to Preeti Singh, who wants to make a point. But please stay with us. We'll be right back. Continuous coverage continues here on Times Now. I believe Tamal Saha joining us now on the broadcast, as is Arunil. Arunil, you're just outside Rhea's residence. We believe she could be there any moment now. What's the latest at your end?
Well, I'm outside the building premises of Rhea Chakraborty. You can see the scene outside the residence of Rhea Chakraborty at present. There are Mumbai cops over here. There is a police van which has already reached over here. A heavy police deployment can be seen outside the residence of Rhea Chakraborty. Within some minutes, basically 20 to 25 minutes, we can expect Rhea Chakraborty to return back to her residence. But yes, she has been summoned again tomorrow. Tomorrow is expected to be the D-Day for Rhea Chakraborty with respect to a most probable arrest also. Very highly likely that she will be arrested tomorrow. That's what we understand. With respect to the marathon interrogation that happened today, more than 7 hours of intense grilling session held at the NCB office. We understand that she has accepted that she was not consuming drugs. So the main question over here is the March 15th chat with Showik Chakraborty, wherein she has asked Showik Chakraborty to get drugs for her. So what this drugs for exactly was for whom? Was it for Sushant Singh Rajput? Was Sushant Singh Rajput drugged by Rhea Chakraborty in connivance with all the other members, be it Dipesh Sawant, be it Samuel Miranda or the Siddharth Pitani? This is the main question that arises. We also expect that tomorrow the interrogation will be more lengthy, more time will be taken by the NCB, considering that Rhea Chakraborty's today summons were by around 10:30 a.m. She was expected to reach the NCB office, but she reached around 2 hours late. And in the morning also, when the NCB members had come over here, she said that she will be going in her own car. So we can expect some more time for the NCB to interrogate Rhea Chakraborty tomorrow, and highly likely that she will she is facing arrest tomorrow. That's what we understand. basically through our NCB sources. And the interrogation that unfolded today, she has accepted basically that drugs were got, but she didn't consume it. So was it for actor Sushant Singh Rajput, and did actor Sushant Singh Rajput know about it, that he was being
angle
drugged?
will be the focus now. Absolutely, Tamal. Let me go across to Tamal. Intense grilling expected tomorrow, since the focus will now, of course, shift on the procurement angle.
Well, that's right, Swati. In fact, Rhea Chakraborty left the NCB building at around 6:20, and in less than 24 hours' time, she would be coming back here, which only goes on to highlight that the investigation is far from over when it comes to Rhea Chakraborty and her alleged complacency in the entire drug nexus that NCB is now probing. We know, as a matter of fact, that NCB is trying to understand if there had been any kind of criminal conspiracy with regards to procurement of drugs, with regards to drugs being brought to Sushant Singh Rajput's residence. If we go by the statements given by Dipesh Sawant, Samuel Miranda, or for that matter by Showik Chakraborty, they are in a way indicating that drugs had been procured, marijuana had been procured, buds had been procured, but then they were all for the consumption of Sushant Singh Rajput. However, that as an allegation had been strongly refuted by Sushant Singh Rajput's family, because Sushant Singh Rajput, the late actor, unfortunately cannot defend himself. At this point in time, NCB is trying to understand as whether this transaction was only limited to Sushant Singh Rajput and his residence.
Stay on with us. We'll have to take another very quick break right now. We'll come back with more updates on the other side. Stay with us.